Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Rue Unboxing and MMA. And can I just say how excited I am for UFC 314? I've been waiting for this my whole life. By my whole life, I think I've been waiting for this since UFC 313. I was thinking that I'm so excited because I was afraid that there was going to be some dropouts. There was not a lot of dropouts that mattered to me. So I think the fights that I'm going to talk about the fights that I was excited about. And let's get into it. So the first one, interestingly enough, Bryce Mitchell and Silva. Bryce Mitchell, I think on my other show that I have been called out for just being unfair to Bryce Mitchell because I think, uh, the redneck mentality is not the mentality that I respect in fighters because it's not the redneck thing. It's the fact that he stays on the farm where I think he could have been a better fighter if he was going to camps, if he was getting better trainers. But he's to an extent loyal to his team, to his coaches, and he doesn't want to, to be fancy like the other fighters. But I think that if he wants to move up to top 10, I think maybe it's necessary for him to actually try to get out of the farm and, get to camp and be with the others. So Bryce Mitchell, I think, Bryce Mitchell has the tenacity to be a winner. The thing is that I feel like his fight IQ is a bit low, which, I've been called out for being unfair on Bryce Mitchell, but because I see that he has the chance to grow. And you got Silva, who has similar fight style. They are both just going at it, and you can see they're ready to win. The only thing though is I would say Silva is more skilled in a sense that you can see the IQ. Bryce Mitchell eats these punches, whereas Silva doesn't eat a lot of these punches. So I think that if I'm going to choose a favorite right now, so we have Bryce Mitchell, who's 17-3, and Silva, who's 15-2 in the featherweight division. So if I'm going to make a prediction here, I would say Silva for the win, only because Bryce Mitchell needs to have just a little bit more intelligence in his fight. However, I've been proved wrong before, and both of these fighters, they are just as unpredictable as they're just very unpredictable. So my pick would be Silva. I think based because Bryce Mitchell's last fight was with Gracie. Here, Gracie, the name Gracie, you would think that's wow, he fought a Gracie, but I felt like Kron Gracie was someone that just wasn't in it. So I think with Silva, he is gonna get an opportunity to prove himself and to give us something, fun to watch after that. And then the next fight, after that fight, we have Yair Rodriguez and Patricio Pitbull in the featherweight division. So now Rodriguez is 20-6 and Pitbull is 36-7. Let's start with Rodriguez, who won against Ortega at first and then recently lost to Ortega. So I think he has something to prove. He's ranked number 5 right now, which is pretty good, I would say, because the featherweight division is not you don't mess with that division. It's a good division. So right now he's at a good spot. He's not consistent, however, and I think now because you have Patricio Pitbull, who's coming from Bellator. No disrespect to Bellator. I think Bellator has a lot of fighters who've come from Bellator to the UFC, including Michael Chandler, which, interestingly enough, Patricio Pitbull and Chandler have fought, and Pitbull won in the first round by TKO to Michael Chandler. And I think, this is just very interesting that they're both fighting in 314, but they're not fighting each other. But yeah, so Pitbull in Bellator was a champion, so he's not coming in just, as a nobody. He's coming in as a somebody. And then what I always see happening is when you're coming from Bellator, you have this momentum that you have, but the UFC is a different beast, I would say. But with Rodriguez being as inconsistent as he is, I would say Pitbull is probably gonna win this one, because he was champion. Also, what he did to Michael Chandler, let's not forget that. And even in his fights in Bellator, he's a very entertaining fighter. He's a good striker, and he has an opportunity to prove himself. However, Rodriguez has an opportunity to prove himself as well. So I think being ranked number 5 and then you're fighting Bellator's champ, I think, he's got a lot of pressure. So if I'm going to make a prediction, I'll say Pitbull for the win. I think that's a fair prediction. Okay, I'm gonna come back after this and see how I did there. And then now we've got the next fight that we have, that's the co-main event, which is Michael Chandler versus number 7 ranked Michael Chandler versus number 12 ranked Paddy Pimblett. I love Paddy so much. I don't know. I just enjoy him. I just enjoy watching his social media. I think he's pretty funny. Although I don't understand half of the things that he says. And then you have Michael Chandler, who's loved by the Americans. Michael Chandler, I'm surprised he's ranked number 7 because, you know what, the thing about Michael Chandler is that he's been fighting the best of the best in the lightweight division. I'm talking, the last fight that he had was with Charles Oliveira. He lost, he's fought. He's someone that gets these fights that he can't win. I like to call him the best at losing because he loses to the best of the best and he keeps getting these fights. So for the first time in a long time, after Tony Ferguson, which I felt like, he won against Tony Ferguson, which says something, but it doesn't say a lot. And so now him fighting Paddy Pimblett, I think he's fighting somebody that he can possibly win to, and then his record won't be as ugly as it looks right now. But Paddy hasn't fought fighters the caliber of Michael Chandler yet, but I think that he needs an opportunity to fight people at the level that Michael Chandler has fought. So I think I wonder if he wins against Michael Chandler, who's gonna fight next, and that's something interesting to see because he has been doing pretty great. So him fighting Michael Chandler is an opportunity for him to prove that he deserves better fighters at a better caliber, and then he can move up the ranks. So Paddy looks like he's in the rise. Michael Chandler looks like he's just there, and I just think he gets unfair opportunities. However, the UFC, I know it's a business, and Michael Chandler has a lot of fans. I also am a fan of Michael Chandler. So let's see how it goes. So my prediction would be, that's a difficult one. So my prediction would probably be Paddy Pimblett will, but I think that this is just going to be a toss-up. Yeah, I think it's going to be a toss-up, but I think it's definitely going to be a nice fight to watch. Okay, now that I think about it, I think Michael Chandler is probably going to win. Because, like I said, he's had a lot of opportunity to fight bigger ranked fighters, higher ranked fighters. He has the experience that Paddy doesn't have. So I think Michael Chandler is probably to win for this one. The fact that I'm so indecisive makes me doubt myself in my rankings. But okay. I'm done with the co-main event. Let's move on to the main event, which is Alexander Volkanovski, Alexander the Great, versus Diego Lopez. Now, this matchup is my favorite matchup because I love Volkanovski. Honestly, I have been, ever since Ilia Topuria took over the featherweight division, it's been hard to see Volkanovski lose to Makhachev, lose to Topuria. So I think him moving to the lightweight division is the best thing that could happen for Volkanovski, because it seems like there was no way of taking down the king of that division. This is a very good division. And then we have number 3 ranked Diego Lopez, who has he's on the rise. I wouldn't say that Diego is in his prime, but I wouldn't say that Volkanovski is off his prime because he lost to like Makhachev and Topuria. And oh my god, he looks great. I haven't seen him look this great. Every time he fights, I always talk about how great he looks. but I haven't seen him look this in shape. I think he's ready to take that belt. Diego Lopez, I root for Diego Lopez like he's a family member, you know? He's just such a lovable guy. So here we have Alexander Volkanovski, excellent boxing. Can we not forget about the ground and pound? I do boxing in my free time, and I can identify a great boxer when I see one, because in the UFC, we don't always see boxers. You know, we've got Max Holloway, we've got Alexander Volkanovski, to say the least. These are the two I can think of right now, but obviously there's so many more. But I'd say Volkanovski, very good striker, also good on the ground. And then you've got Diego Lopez, who is, he's a decent striker, I would say. On the ground, now this is where it gets interesting. On the ground, his jiu-jitsu is quite impressive. You don't want to be put in that armbar by Lopez because you're not getting out. But I've seen Volkanovski getting out of a guillotine, so he can get out of anything. If I am going to make a prediction, a fair prediction would be that Alexander Volkanovski is gonna win this one. I think it's gonna go the distance, possibly. I'd say Volkanovski is gonna win by TKO, and I think that Diego is gonna try to submit Volkanovski, but it's not gonna be as easy as it usually is for him. And this is my prediction. So tomorrow, UFC 314. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see this. It's going to be a Sunday for me. It's going to be a Saturday for other people. And let's see how it goes. Please subscribe to my channel. This is my new video that I have made by myself. Usually when I make videos, they're made by other people and edited by other people. So this is the first time that I've done it by myself, and I hope I can get better. Please like and subscribe, comment. However, if you want to correct me, if you want to make your own prediction, make your prediction, and then we can get back to it after the fight and we see what happens. I want to be right, but you know what? Who knows?